As a foot and ankle specialist, I know how difficult it can be to find shoes depending on your foot type. People who are supinators are less common than those that have overpronation issues if you have stiff ankles, or you have a rigid flat foot rather than a flexible flat foot, or even those of you who have narrow feet can find it difficult to get the right fit. Well, I'm going to talk you through the best shoes for every foot type in today's video, but before I do that, I just want to clarify one thing. It's really important to know your shoe length and your shoe width. Measuring your shoe width means that you're less likely to get blisters, calluses, or have too much space inside certain shoes. So I have a free guide that you can download in the description below. That means you can measure out all of these details in 2 minutes and follow simple charts to find out what your shoe width is depending on your shoe length. So let's get stuck into the best shoes for different foot types. First of all, we have the best shoes for supinators. And there we have the Nike Structure 26. Now this is a perfect option for supinators as it's got support both on the inside and the outside of the shoe. So that means when you initiate contact with the heel, you got support right on the outside of the heel to keep you centered in the shoe. You've got a broad base of support underneath your foot. So again, when you go to push off, you've got plenty of support, plenty of contact with the ground. It's actually got really balanced cushioning underneath your foot. So while you have good ground contact feel, you don't feel overly cushioned and unstable. It's got a normal width on top with a breathable upper, and it's just an excellent option from Nike. Then if you're more of a heavier supinator and you need a bit more support, well then the Ghost Max 3 does an excellent job at this. You've got a really broad base support underneath your foot, a lot more cushioning than what you get in the Structure 26, because often with those heavy supinators they just hit the ground a little bit harder than some other people. And as a result, that firmer cushioning gives you lots of protection, but it's not too unstable that it facilitates excess movement. It's got lots of sole flare, and that means it keeps you centered in the shoe as you move. It's also got lots of volume in the toe box, so plenty of space in there if you've got a broader foot. Now, if you're someone who has a wide forefoot, well then look no further than the Altra Experience Flow 3. It's got one of the best balanced cushioning on the market. It's also got enough cushioning to give you protection without having that max cushion unstable feel. Now it has an anatomical toe box, but it's snug in the midfoot and the heel. So as I've heard many times from our patients that they move too much inside a shoe if they go for a wide or an extra wide in a shoe to accommodate their forefoot, the Experience Flow 3 is targeted at exactly the type of person who has a narrow heel and a wide forefoot. Then if you've got a flexible flat foot, that means you can tolerate some arch support. So we look no further than the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 25. It's a staple in the stability range, but it's also just really good at doing its job. So as a slightly higher drop than most other shoes, which means you can get a bit more pressure on the ball of the foot, so not ideally for your sensitivity there, but does help offload the Achilles. The cushion is nice and balanced, the guide rail system is focused on keeping you centered in the shoe as you move, got plenty of sole flare, which is where the sole comes out wider than where your foot sits in the shoe, to increase the stability of the shoe, and it comes in a narrow, normal and wide fit. So it's a variety of options for those of you with a flexible flat foot. Now those of you with a stiff big toe, Hallux Limitus, big toe arthritis or Hallux Rigidus, we recommend the Brooks Glycerin Max 2. It's got a really broad base of support underneath your foot, so one of the widest shoes that you'll come across. It's got a huge amount of cushioning, but it's actually firmer than the previous model, so it's a bit more stable underneath your foot. It's got one of the best rockers that you'll find. So you can see this aggressive forefoot rocker, but has minimal toe spring. And toe spring is where your toes are held in slight extension inside the shoe. That can be uncomfortable if you've got severe Hallux Rigidus. But by having minimal toe spring and having the rocker all the way through the cushioning, which is facilitated because there's a huge amount of cushioning, it means that you get an offload of your big toe joint, minimal extension, lots of protection. An excellent option. The only downside is it doesn't come in a wide version, unfortunately. Now, if you've got a rigid flat foot, I know it can be really difficult to find the right stability shoe. You don't want an arch support pressing up into your foot, and that's why I recommend one of the best releases this year, the New Balance 860 V15. Now the V14 had a little bit too much support on the inside of the shoe. The V15 has got it just right. So a slight tilt inside the shoe which tilts you outward, therefore offloading that arch if you get discomfort there, posterior tibial tendon issues. You're going to reduce the load on the inside of the foot, but it's not too much that it's causing you to become unstable on the lateral aspect. So the cushioning is really bouncy, really responsive. So if you want a fun, energetic walk with the right type of support, Good space in the toe box, comes in a wide version. It's really hard to look past the 860 V15. If you've got stiff ankles, it can be a bit of a nightmare because every time you go into a lower drop shoe, it pinches the front of the ankle and causes discomfort. And that's where a rocker bottom shoe really comes into its own. As a result, the Asics Glideride Max 2 is one of my top recommendations. Has a nice curve at the back and then a really aggressive forefoot rocker. So it's really fun to walk in, reduces the workload at your ankle joint, your calf and your Achilles. Now the downside of that is that it's a less stable shoe overall. The upside is it reduces the amount of flexion required at the ankle joint and at the toe joint. So it's a really fun shoe to move in. It's got a good fit on top, plenty of space, really breathable upper, and it is extremely light despite the amount of cushioning underneath your foot. So perfect for those of you with a stiffer ankle. If you need something more stable, have a look at some higher drop shoes, something like the Adrenaline or the Brooks Glycerin 23. Now, if you have a high arch foot, we know that you need more space within the shoe, especially in terms of depth, and it's really hard to look past the Altra FWD Via 2. Now, it's similar to the Hockabond 99, but better in our opinion at a cheaper price point. It's got lots of that plush max cushioning underneath your foot, which gives you that all-day comfort. It's got the widest toe box of any shoe on the market, loads of width in the midfoot and forefoot, and loads of height as well. So it means that you get lots of comfort in there, and because you have a high arch foot, often you have a two-prong approach to your gait cycle, so you get more pressure on your heel and the forefoot. Well, that cushioning gives you all the protection that you need, and it's only a 4mm drop, so it gives you a nice even distribution of pressure across your foot. So an excellent option for high arch foot people. Now, if you're a neutral foot type and you're wondering what's the best general shoe for you, it's hard to look past the Brooks Glycerin 23. It's had a major upgrade from the 22. The cushioning is so plush and comfortable underfoot, it feels really premium. On top, you've got an excellent upper that wraps around your foot, comes in a wide version, and honestly, it's one of the most comfortable shoes on the market if you're looking for a shoe for walking all day in, or you just want something comfortable for standing in. Then, if you have a narrow foot, the Asics Gel-Nimbus 28 is a great option, as it's really snug in the midfoot and the heel, and that's partly got to do with lots of cushioning around the heel, a really snug lockdown on the midfoot. So it keeps you locked in the shoe. It comes in a narrow and a wide version as well, so you've got lots of options. You've got a really nice FF Blast cushioning, so it's really plush underfoot when you initiate contact with the ground. Feels really comfortable without being unstable. It's got an excellent forefoot rocker to help push you forward. So if you need a more snug fit, Asics or Brooks do a great option at doing a narrow fit in their shoes. But let me know if you have any thoughts on any other shoes, any other foot types that you'd like some answers on. All the shoes are linked in the description below if you want to check out the latest prices. And otherwise, thank you very much for tuning in once again.